The first step of the Mountain Trip project was to identify mountain-relevant research funded by the EU. What have you found?
Well, in the first 6 months we identified 110 projects relevant to sustainable development in European mountain regions, and these are mainly projects funded after the year 2000 under the 4th, 5th, 6th, some of them even 7th framework programs, as well as some Interreg projects.
Can you give us an example of a project that you have looked at?
One project that I found particularly interesting was the Euromark project, and this project has produced policy recommendations and guidelines for stakeholders working at different levels in the production and marketing chain around the topic of quality food products coming from mountain regions. So what we are trying to do in Mountain Trip is cluster results from other projects as well around the same topic and produce regionally relevant products.
So this sounds as if you had a wealth of information now. Do you have equally interesting results for 110 projects?
The 110 projects are all potentially equally interesting for sustainable mountain development, but the problem that we were facing is that some of the project results were no longer available, or some of the project results are still to be processed. And out of the 110 projects, we actually worked in more detail on 54 projects, looking at their results. And one of our outcomes was that about 40% of these projects are actually directed to the scientific community, so results are not presented in a form directly useful for practitioners.
What is the geographical distribution of the projects that did actually produce results for practitioners?
We found that most of the EU-funded research is concentrated around the Alpine region, the Iberian Peninsula and the Nordic mountains, whereas other mountain regions in Europe, like the Carpathians or the Balkans, are not that much addressed through EU-funded research. So one of the messages that we want to convey is that there is a need of more geographically balanced distribution of EU research projects within the European mountain ranges.
Do you have any other messages back to the EU?
Well, we think that each research project should integrate a Mountain Trip-like approach, and we hope that through this project particularly we can offer an example in this respect.